after 64 boundaries. Men must set early or she'll walk all over you. Female psychology of desire. Older women don't walk over strong men, they walk over men who never build structure. Respect doesn't vanish by chance. It fades when boundaries are never set or quietly broken. The moment you give, over-explain, or endure to keep her, you lose your position, and with it the attraction. Structure creates respect, and respect shapes the quality of love. Without boundaries, you're not building a relationship, you're building a pattern. You shrink, she expands. You accommodate, she expects. You chase, and she walks away. Welcome back to my channel. It's Vernon again. In today's video, I'll share 4 critical boundaries you must set early in any relationship, or risk losing respect. These boundaries have saved marriages, restored broken dynamics, and helped men reclaim their position without losing their compassion. 2. You'll get more wisdom on love, dating, and marriage after 60 that most men wish they'd learned decades ago. Let's begin with the place where most men unknowingly give away their leverage long before a woman has earned it. 1. Protect your financial access. Don't open financial access too early. Here's the first boundary most men break without even realizing it. They give financial access before emotional investment is proven. I'm talking about paying for everything to help out with her rent, her car payment, her debt, buying expensive gifts in the first few months, playing the financial hero before she's earned that level of trust. The moment you do this, you shift from being an attractive man to being a provider, from mystery to utility. From someone she desires to someone she uses, attraction becomes transactional. The issue when you're measured by your wallet instead of your presence, you lose something crucial, your masculine identity. Because a man who constantly opens his wallet is unconsciously saying, "I'm not enough on my own, let me buy your attention, let me purchase your respect." And women feel this. They might not say it. They might even accept the money with a smile, but deep down something shifts. She stops seeing you as a man to be impressed by, and starts seeing you as a resource to be managed. I think of my brother Thomas, 62 years old, divorced, started dating a woman 15 years younger, beautiful woman. Within 3 weeks, he was paying for her groceries, fixing her car, covering her phone bill. He thought he was being generous, thought he was showing he could take care of her. 6 months later, she left him for a man who made half what Thomas made. Why? Because that other man never positioned himself as a wallet. He positioned himself as a man, and when Thomas finally stopped chasing, stopped offering money as proof of his worth, something interesting happened. Women started chasing him. A man who protects his financial boundaries protects his masculine identity. Money is energy. When you give it too freely, too early, you're not being generous. The issue and desperation repels women faster than anything else. So the rule is simple. Don't use money to replace emotional investment that hasn't been earned. True generosity comes from abundance, but early financial overgiving comes from fear that without your money you're not valuable enough. As the philosopher Seneca once said, "Have you ever lost a woman's respect after helping her financially?" Drop your story in the comments. I want to hear it. But once a man gives away access too early, something else starts slipping right behind it: how he's treated. 2. Try respect from the first sign. Don't accept disrespect no matter how subtle. This is where most men over 60 make a fatal mistake. They tolerate small signs of disrespect because they don't want to overreact. They don't want to risk losing her by calling it out, so they stay quiet. Maybe it's an interruption mid-conversation that becomes habitual, or a joke at your expense in front of her friends that stings more than it should. Perhaps she mentions her ex a little too fondly, or dismisses your perspective like it doesn't carry weight. Every time you stay silent, you're not being calm. You're giving permission. Women test men, not because they're manipulative, but because they need to know if you have a backbone, if you'll protect your own value, if you'll stand firm when she pushes, and when you don't, when you accept disrespect without consequence, she loses attraction. Not because she wanted to disrespect you, but because you showed her you don't respect yourself enough to demand it. The great Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That strength begins with one simple act, requiring respect from the very first moment. I'm not talking about being harsh. I'm not talking about yelling or controlling her speech. I'm talking about calmly, clearly setting a standard. I don't speak to you that way, and I'd appreciate the same respect. That's it. No anger, no long explanation. Just a line. And here's what happens when you do this early. She respects you more, not less, because you've shown her something rare. A man who values himself enough to walk away from disrespect, even from a beautiful woman. The boundary you set in week 1 determines the respect you'll have in year 1. Most men wait too long. They let it build. They tolerate disrespect for months thinking it'll get better, and then one day they explode. But by then it's too late. The pattern is set. You've already taught her that you'll accept anything to keep her around. Respect is not earned later. It's established at the first boundary. And when respect weakens, the imbalance doesn't stay abstract. It starts showing up in everyday behavior. 3. Control your time and now. Don't make your time constantly available. This one destroys more relationships than almost anything else. The man who drops everything when she calls, who responds to every text within seconds, like he's been waiting by the phone, who has no plans that can't be rescheduled, no commitments that matter more than her spontaneous invitation. When you think you're being attentive, you think you're showing her she's a priority. A man with no structure to his life, a man with nothing more important than her attention, a man who's emotionally replaceable. Women don't just evaluate you, they evaluate your life. They're asking a subconscious question: is this man's life solid enough to contain me, or will I become his entire world? And if the answer is the second one, she'll feel suffocated. She'll feel like she's dating a man who has no mission, no purpose, no center. Let me tell you about my cousin Richard. Met a woman on a dating app, great connection. But Richard was retired, had too much free time, and made himself completely available. No hobbies pulling at his attention, no commitments creating natural distance, just perpetually free. 3 months in, she told him she needed space. But that wasn't the real problem. The problem was Richard had no life for her to move into. He had a void he expected her to fill. When Richard finally built structure back into his days, joined a woodworking club, started volunteering at the Veteran Center, took morning walks, he wouldn't compromise. Something shifted. The next woman he dated felt drawn to his life instead of suffocated by his availability. A structured life is more attractive than a flexible life. A woman wants to fit into your world, not become your world. She wants to feel like you have purpose, direction, things that matter beyond her smile. Because when you have nothing else, she becomes responsible for your emotional stability, and that's exhausting. Keep your schedule, maintain your commitments. Don't treat every moment with her as more important than the life you've built. Don't be rude or dismissive, but don't be constantly available either. Let her wonder what you're doing. Let her feel like she's entering something, not creating it. The ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said it perfectly. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. A man with too much availability looks like he's hurrying toward her validation. A man with healthy boundaries moves at his own pace. You can share this video with a friend or in a group. There are men out there who need to hear this before they lose themselves completely. But even time isn't the most draining thing men give away without realizing it. 4. Protect your emotional energy. Don't become an emotional dumping ground before there's commitment. This is how men over 60 get drained. The connection feels good, and she starts unloading her stress, past wounds, family issues, and fears about the future. You listen, comfort, and try to help, thinking it's intimacy. The issue, it's emotional labor given before she's invested anything in return. There's a difference between healthy vulnerability and emotional dumping. Winnability is mutual. It's reciprocal, are revealing themselves carefully, slowly, with trust being built brick by brick. Emotional dumping is one-sided. It's using you as a release valve for her stress without her ever holding space for yours. It's making you responsible for regulating her emotions before she's committed to regulating the relationship. And when a man does this too early, he shifts from potential partner to unbiased therapist. She bonds to the relief you provide, not to you. And the moment she feels stable again, she often disappears. Because you weren't the source of her happiness, you were just the absorber of her pain. I've watched this pattern destroy men in their 60s more than any other. They give emotional labor freely, generously, thinking it'll make her need them. Nah, emotional overgiving creates need, not attraction. The boundary is simple but hard to enforce. Don't carry her emotional weight before she's proven she'll carry yours. Listen when it matters. Be present, be compassionate, but don't become the person she calls every time she's upset while you never get to share your own struggles. Don't solve all her problems while she barely asks about yours. She bonds by investing in you, not by unloading on you. When she has to earn your emotional availability, when she has to prove she can hold space for you too, that's when real intimacy forms. That's when she starts seeing you as a partner. The psychiatrist, Carl Jung, understood this balance when he observed, "Where love rules, there is no will to power. And where power predominates, love is lacking." When you give emotional energy without boundaries, you surrender power. And when power is gone, so is attraction. Don't give it away to someone who hasn't shown they value it. Now you can save this video. Come back to it when you feel yourself slipping, when you feel yourself giving too much too soon, hoping it'll make her stay. By now you understand that boundaries are not about controlling women. They're about protecting your identity, your value, and the structure of masculine leadership. Boundaries don't make you cold. They make it possible to be loved without shrinking yourself, without apologizing for taking up space. The issue's strength doesn't come from demanding more from women. It comes from setting higher standards for yourself. The philosopher Nietzsche said it best. He who has a why to live can bear almost any. How your boundaries are your why. They remind you that you're not here to be used, tolerated, or settled for. You're here to be chosen, fully, consciously, and with respect. What boundary saved or destroyed one of your relationships? Share your experience in the comments. Your story might be exactly what another man needs to hear. If this resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I've got more wisdom coming on love, dating, and building relationships after 60 that actually last. And I'm Vernon. Thanks for watching till now, and see you in the next video.